Yeah, protecting it so it doesn't get thrown back.
Hello everyone, and welcome to a brand new episode of Inside IUE Sports. I'm your host, Isaiah Hoffman, your voice of the Red Wolves, and I am here today with the head coach of the tennis team, Casper Nolte. How are you doing today, Coach?
I'm doing well.
Doing good. All right, happy to have you here today. We're just going to get right into it, Coach. Your first season as the head coach for the IUE's tennis team. It started last season, of course. So talk about that first season for us, how you felt as, I guess, for your first season as a head coach, and then also for the team as well.
So, yeah, I got hired on in December, so middle of the year, right before the spring season. Didn't know what to expect as far as the group of players that I had and everything. Fortunately, I inherited a great group of players, great group of people as well. So it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun playing last spring, and now this fall we've added a few of incoming freshmen. Again, some great players, some fantastic people as well, and we had a lot of fun in the fall as well. So.
Gotcha. So, looking at last season, staying with last season, obviously, there were some positives, there were some negatives. Can you talk about the positives for us? What you saw, not I guess as yourself as a head coach, and then also from a team standpoint, and the positives you saw from last season? Yeah,
of course. So last spring we had 6 on the men's side and 6 on the women's side in terms of the amount of players we had, which is the minimum you can have to maintain a full roster. So we were low on numbers. So one of my biggest focuses as a coach was to stay injury-free throughout the season, which is not easy to do, just with the amount of matches you play. And tennis, the sport of tennis you tend to have a lot of injuries, especially nagging injuries and stuff like that. Fortunately, we were able to stay healthy throughout the year, which was huge for us. So that was a big positive in my eye. And not only that, but we were also able to compete at a high level. We were competitive in pretty much all our matches, even those that we lost. So yeah, it was a lot of big positives in that regard.
Was there any matches that were, I guess, maybe a feel-good moment for not only yourself but also the team throughout the season?
So yeah, our first match last spring was one of my personal favorites. It was against my alma mater, Shawnee State University, and they're actually joining the River States Conference. So we'll see them every year now. But both the IU East men and women's team won 4-3 against Shawnee State. So it was a very competitive match, very fun atmosphere. And obviously we pulled out on top, so it was fun.
Gotcha. Always, when there is positive, there's, also negatives, like you said, maybe one of those negatives, just kind of, having to fill the roster, 6-6 on both sides, not the easiest to manage, like you just mentioned. But besides that, with your players on the court and maybe even yourself, being that first year head coach, was there anything that, maybe isn't a negative, but needs to be worked on and that you guys did work on in the off season, and not only just the team but also yourself as a head coach?
Yeah, there's always stuff to work on. As far as the team goes, looking back at last semester, there were a lot of matches that we probably should have won, or at least could have won, that we ended up losing by just 1 or 2 positions. So I think just building mental fortitude in tight matches when it goes to a third set, or when you're in a tie break, those situations, being comfortable with those situations and thriving in those difficult situations.
I gotcha. Is there any matches you recall specifically that, you kind of need that mental, I guess, toughness in a sense that you can recall?
There were quite a few.
A lot,
yeah. At this level, you run into a lot of competitive matches. There's really no easy matches at this level. So you need it every day, and I think the players can attest to that. You have to show up. You can't have an off day and expect to win. So yeah, just building that mental fortitude, and not just being comfortable with close matches and tight situations, but being able to thrive in those situations. So.
And how do you, how would you work on that in practice, to, kind of put them in that scenario in practice? So when it comes, when that time does come back around, this upcoming season, will they be better prepared for it, in the sense?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think one of the main ways that you can do that, and what we are trying to do, is fill the roster with more competitive players. Having 6 players on a team, people kind of know their spot on the lineup, and there's no real there's not no competitiveness in practice, but there's a limited competitiveness in practice, because you kind of understand, you understand where you're at and stuff like that. When you have more people in the lineup and everybody can play, there's a competitiveness in practice, because you have to earn your spot in that regard. So
I gotcha. Looking at the off season, I know a lot of teams, the soccer team, they went and did stuff, bonding things. The volleyball team, they did, I think, like a karaoke contest of some sort. Is there anything, besides, the practices that you guys did as a team, maybe went out, did something to kind of, develop that chemistry throughout the off season?
Yeah, our captains actually set up a couple times. It was more casual events. Like a lot of times they had like a cookout or something like that. And yeah, I think our players are a pretty tight group. Everybody seems to get along with each other, which is great. That's not the case a lot of times. Sometimes you have like small cliques and stuff like that, small groups within teams, which is fine. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's been very enjoyable for me as a coach to see everybody get along. So yeah, it's fun to watch.
I gotcha. Yeah. So when we were just talking, there is some international players there. I guess the question I want to ask is it difficult sometimes, because obviously, they have to go back home in the sense like that. And I don't know if they left, sometime during the off season or stuff like that. How, what's the positives in having international players? And then is there also maybe some negatives when it comes to just, having to go back home and stuff like that?
There's a lot of positives. Obviously, they're great players a lot of times, so that's a big positive. But also, just it's nice getting to talk with them, and a lot of different cultures and different viewpoints on stuff. So just being able to speak with them and kind of interact with them, not just me, but like everybody on the team and stuff like that. As far as negatives go. From my standpoint, there's not really too many negatives. I know that it can be very difficult for them sometimes being away from home, and for some of our players especially, there's a big time difference. So, being away from family and being on a different time zone from them, like sometimes we'll get done with practice and, the players aren't even able to call their parents because their parents are asleep and stuff like that. So I know it can be very difficult for them. And as a coach, I just try to accommodate that and the best I can. So, yeah.
Gotcha. And then, Coach, looking more at first head coaching season here at IU East, is there any takeaways that you had from last season? Positives for yourself as a coach, and then also some things that you want to get better on, maybe not this season, but just in the future in general?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I always look at myself first in terms of how can I get better, how can I make the team better, and stuff like that. So, I mean, I can improve in every aspect, and I think one of my best attributes as a coach is my willingness to learn, not just from other coaches, but also from the players. from other teams, coaches, and stuff like that. So yeah, I think I'm always looking at myself in terms of how can I improve to make the team improve, yeah.
Gotcha. And then, Coach, last but not least, when it comes to this season, what matchups are you looking forward to the most, whether that is out of conference, obviously in conference, Shawnee State, probably going to be one of those once again, but also, just other teams, I guess, out of conference, in conference that you're looking forward to matching up in, and what is the goal for this season, not only for yourself, but also the team?
Yeah, obviously Shawnee State
Yep.
for me is always looking forward to that match, especially now that this will be their
They're
first season in the River States Conference. So definitely looking forward to that. And I think speaking from the players especially, I think they're always looking forward to the Oakland City match.
Okay. Yeah.
We've kind of it's become a little bit of a rivalry. Obviously, they've got a great program over there with what Colin and has built over there. So we're looking forward to that match. We know it'll be competitive and fun. Midway's another one that we look forward to. And I know specifically the guys' side looks forward to Southeast. That's kind of become a little bit of a fun rivalry as well. So, yeah.
Gotcha, Coach. That is going to do it. Thank you for joining me for this episode of Inside IUE Sports, but we've got more coming up from the tennis team, so don't go anywhere. We got more coming up for you on Inside IUE Sports.
Let's shine by seeing the best in all of us and by looking out for everyone's well-being. Let's shine by staying true to ourselves while surging toward the future. Let's shine with the best care possible and by treating you here, right in your hometown. Let's look out for each other. Let's stay healthy. Let's shine together.
WCTV supports local entertainment. WCTV supports local information. WCTV supports our local students. WCTV needs your support to continue supporting our community, and it's easy to do. Become a member as an individual or family. Nonprofit and business memberships are also available, with benefits including video production and program sponsorship. Membership donations are critical, and when deciding where your support dollars go, support an organization that serves the community you live in. Visit WCTV.info or call 765-973-8488.
Into the world of the unknown. It moves us to change, to grow. It asks us to dream bigger. An idea is better shared. It ignites us, and we make each other bright. We can do great things together.
Welcome back, everyone, to Inside IUE Sports. Once again, I'm Isaiah Hoffman, and continuing on with our tennis episode here today, I'm here with Laura and Kyle from the tennis team. How are you guys doing today?
Good.
Doing good?
Doing good.
All right, we are just going to get straight into it. Laura, I will start with you. Just kind of talk about where you grew up. Where'd you go to high school, and what did you like about high school?
Yeah, I grew up in Westmoreland, Ohio. It's just outside of Dayton, not too far from here.
I went to high school at Milton Union High School, and I just liked the community, how involved it was. It's very like small town, hands-on. Everyone's very involved with each other. So.
Gotcha.
I grew up here from Richmond. I originally went to Seton Catholic until about 9th grade, and then I transferred over to Richmond to play tennis for my dad. And then I played 2 years with my brother in high school. I wanted to play with my older brother, but I couldn't reclass, so we could all three play together. But I really enjoyed being able to play with him for 2 years and learn from him, and then be able to be the leader on that team for the next 2 years.
Gotcha. So, let's just, I want to ask, during high school, was there any other sports besides tennis, and why was tennis ultimately the choice for both of you guys?
Yeah, I ran cross country and track, and I pole vaulted in track. I think tennis was the choice just because I'd been doing it the longest, definitely, and it was just my favorite by far. So
How long were you doing tennis, I guess, up to that point?
I started when I was around 4 or 5.
Okay,
so.
gotcha.
In high school, I never played another sport, but I had always knew I was going to end up playing tennis in high school because my dad was the coach there, and my other brothers transferred over from Seton to Richmond to play tennis as well. But that was always my end goal, was to play tennis in high school.
I got you. What made tennis ultimately your guys' favorite sport? You grew up playing tennis, you said, since you were 4. I think family obviously had to do something with you being involved in tennis, but why, for you guys personally, do you enjoy the sport so much?
Yeah, I enjoy the support system that comes with it. I grew up in kind of a tennis community. There was a big tennis program at our high school. There's just a lot of support systems, and I feel like everywhere I've gone with tennis, there's always been people who are very helpful and involved. And I just like how strategic it is compared to other sports.
Gotcha.
Kind of how she said with the strategy. I always used to grow up playing basketball and baseball and all those other sports, but those are more just skill level kind of sports, it seems like. Tennis is a skill level sport, but it also has a lot of strategy involved in it.
Gotcha. And when you talk about the strategy behind it, is there any, I guess, examples you can provide when it comes to the strategy behind the sport?
Yeah, I would say just every player you play has a completely different strategy, so it's fun to try to adapt and figure out what their strategy is and then apply it to your game throughout the match.
Yeah, it's basically exactly how she says. Every single person you play has a completely different strategy against yours. So you talk to your coach, ask how he feels about how you play against him. So your level might not match their level, or the way you play might not match to it, so you have to change the way you play.
Gotcha. So talk about, in high school, the success maybe you guys had personally and also for the team as well.
Yeah, in high school, our team was pretty high up in our conference, so I was able to win 3 individual conference championships, and I think we won about the same amount of team championships, and then I also qualified for district for a couple years.
Nice.
In high school, our team was pretty successful. We had won the first conference in 8 years, and then as an individual, I was pretty successful, I would say. When I transferred over to one singles after my brother, I made it to semi-state and as an individual, but I was not ever able to get to a state finals.
Gotcha. Well, semi-state is a heck of an achievement, as along with the district stuff as well. Looking at college, was it always the plan for both of you guys to do tennis in college, or did you not think there was a future there when it came to playing tennis in college? And how did, I guess, the visit to IU East kind of happen?
Yeah, I wasn't fully set on playing college and tennis my whole life. I think COVID played a big part in it. When touring schools, I liked that IU East was close to home and things were kind of up in the air at times. With COVID, I looked at a lot of other schools to not play tennis, but in the end, I just decided that I thought it would be a fun experience to be able to go to a college where I could play tennis.
Gotcha.
I always went back and forth on it until my senior year when I saw Jacob, our old coach, at one of my matches, and he came and talked to me about coming on a visit, and I thought that was always pretty cool. And then I ended up starting getting other letters, which I thought was pretty nice, thinking that other colleges were actually interested in me. But I always was up back and forth in the air, just thinking about maybe just going to schools for just the academics.
Gotcha. And why did you ultimately decide, okay, I think I'm going to do tennis in college? And another thing I was going to I'll let you answer this, and then I'll ask the other question after. Which was just kind of why you chose to do tennis in college. You know, you had the offers, but you were also thinking about maybe just going for school. So why did you ultimately at the end decide to do tennis in college?
I thought that it was going to be the better choice for me at the end. I was having a great time playing tennis, and I thought that just going into college, I didn't want to just focus straight on school, that I thought I would have a great time playing with the other guys. When I went on my visit, I met some of the guys, and I thought it was going to be a really fun time in the experience.
Gotcha. So you went to Richmond High School, right? Pretty much right near IU East. And I know, a lot of the people I've talked to from Richmond High School, it's kind of like, you go there, you're pretty much kind of, I guess, destined to go to IU East. Was that the same feeling for you, or was it like, I'll see, where I'll go pretty much?
I didn't really think about going to IU East until like my junior or senior year in high school. I had gone on other visits around Indiana, but once I saw Jacob at my match, I kind of knew I was going to end up at IU East because I hadn't had other coach come to one of my matches except for him.
Gotcha. So that you felt a connection there.
Yes.
He made the effort to, I guess, come see you at the meet. When you got to IU East, can you guys not only talk about that first season, but also the academics as well? Because obviously the adjustment from high school to college, it can affect some people. It may not affect some people. So can you talk about that adjustment and what you did to better yourself, not only for tennis, but also in the classroom?
Yeah, I had an interesting freshman year because it was during COVID, so everything was online. So that was a big adjustment as well. I think having a tennis team during that was really good because we were able to kind of like still see each other and meet people on campus and get involved. I feel like it wasn't as big as of an adjustment as a lot of people say in the classroom. I don't think it was as bad as like what people warn you about.
Yeah.
But overall, I think just having like a team also being in your classroom with you is very helpful. Yeah.
Gotcha.
I came in the year after COVID, so I didn't have to worry about being completely virtual. So I was back in the classroom, luckily. So I work better in the classroom, which was definitely helpful. One thing I've definitely learned since being here is time management, which was something I didn't do very well in high school. So luckily I'm able to work upstairs in study tables, which is something I've learned is very helpful for all athletes. Just being able to manage your time well, make sure you stay up on your homework. And if you get behind, you need to make sure that you ask your coaches for just time off to make sure you don't fall behind in your schoolwork.
Gotcha. And then looking more on the academics, staying with the academics, I guess, what is your guys' major you guys are going for? And also minor, if you have a minor.
Yeah, I have a major in business administration, and then I have a triple minor in political science, marketing, and sports management.
I'm a major in business management and marketing and a minor in sports management and marketing.
Gotcha. So I guess I'll ask, with those majors and also with the minors as well, what is, I guess, the job you guys are looking for when you get out of IU East? I guess the main goal, basically.
I'm looking for a job in marketing. I don't really have like a specific
You don't have a specific
area
yet?
but probably something in marketing.
I'm planning on doing working in sports marketing if possible, but if anything, I want to just do something within the sports.
Gotcha. Can you maybe give me an idea of what in sports marketing, I guess?
Well, I'm working in the sports department right now with an internship.
Okay.
So I thought maybe coming back to IU East as a possibility for a job after I graduate.
I gotcha.
And then building that as a potential bigger job, but who knows for the future if I'll end up working here at IU East.
Gotcha. So let's go into, I guess, more of last season and this season. What you guys saw positives-wise for yourself last season, and what some things also you guys could work on heading into this season, and what you worked on in the off-season.
I think a big thing for me is consistency. I work a lot on that to get better against opponents. I don't know if there's really anything that specific. I feel like I'm always working on all of it at all times.
I get it.
I've worked on not being on defense as much. Last year, I was not able to win a lot of my matches just because I was so far behind the baseline and just being on defense. So far in the offseason, I've just been working on trying to be on the offense a lot more.
Gotcha. And guys, to finish it off, just kind of talk about what's your goals for this season, not only for yourself and the team, but also what matches are you guys looking forward to the most, whether that's an in-conference team or out-of-conference team?
Yeah, we haven't seen our schedule yet to see who we're playing, but playing all the conference teams is always fun. It's always really good competition. It's fun to travel to them. I think our main goal as a team is to win conference. That's always kind of our big goal.
Yep.
We were able to do it the first 2 years, and then we just missed it last year. So I think that's always our goal as a team, especially with 5 seniors this year.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think everyone's goal is to win conference, but I think one of the guys' favorite matchups is Oakland City, just because it's always a competitive matchup, and everyone on their team is always we're always good friends with everyone on their team, and then Southeast is always a really fun matchup because we're always we're always a really good rivalry with them. I would say another goal is, because we have a really young team this year, making sure that they understand the whole collegiate athletics thing about it, because
the path, well, just kind of getting them accustomed to it, because there is that jump.
Yeah, they understand the ability in college tennis, but they have just seen high school. They haven't seen the whole collegiate ability.
Gotcha. Thank you guys for joining me for this interview. I do appreciate it. And that is going to do it for our tennis episode here today. That is going to do it. I'm Isaiah Hoffman, and thank you for watching another episode of Inside IUE Sports.